Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and today I'm going to talk you through my June TBR. Now, this TBR may be slightly more fluid than some of my other TBRs, purely because as my year of teaching comes to an end and I get to summer break, I just have the urge to read whatever I feel like and really mood read, which I haven't done in a very long time. So this TBR is subject to change, but I thought I'd talk you through some of the books that I am thinking of reading at the moment. Firstly, I set myself the challenge to read one classic and one nonfiction book per month. So this month's nonfiction book is going to be A Room of One's Own, which is an essay by Virginia Woolf. It's very famous. I know a lot of you have probably already read it, but I haven't. So I finally have this lovely copy from Bookishly, and I thought I'd give it a go, especially because it is very short. So I thought it would make the perfect nonfiction for the month and then allow me to mood read whatever else I felt like from there. If you're not familiar with this essay, it is Virginia Woolf's argument that women need their own space in which they can be creative. And that necessitates all sorts of things, including gender equality, equal pay so they can afford the space to create, and all sorts of other factors. I've heard wonderful things about it, and it's certainly very different from her usual writing style in her fiction works, so I'm intrigued to check it out. Next, for my classic, again keeping things light and easy, I thought I would read Rilla of Ingleside by L.M. Montgomery. This is the last book in the Anne of Green Gables series, so I won't go into what goes on in this book, but I have loved the Anne of Green Gables series for a very long time. I've been slowly reading the final books, and this one I know is Megan Hannett's favorite, and she has been talking it up to me for months now. So I will be very pleased to read it. And well, I suppose I can tell you that it follows Anne's daughter Rilla in the lead up to World War I. That's about all I can say without giving away spoilers. But I'm very intrigued to read it, and hopefully it will be cozy and wonderful, just like all the other Anne books. Next, I am adding in a new monthly challenge for myself, which is to read a book in Spanish. So I am changing positions a little bit at my school, and I will be teaching some upper level Spanish courses, certainly higher than the levels that I have been teaching, which means I have been feeling like my Spanish has become rather rusty. I've been stuck in Spanish one land for a bit too long, and I need to prompt myself to remember some of that higher level vocab and grammar. So to start myself off in June, I thought I would read Juana la Primera by Ana Azrumanian, or Juana the First, which is about Juana the First, who was Queen of Spain. She was one of Catherine of Aragon's older sisters, who eventually inherited after their parents, Ferdinand and Isabella, died. And she led a very interesting life and a very sad life. She was married to Felipe of Belgium, the Netherlands. He was from that Northern Europe area. And he treated her terribly. He cheated on her all the time. And this caused her to go through a complete nervous breakdown, lose all control, and thus she was named Juana the Mad. And so this novella in verse, this long form poem, I'm not entirely sure what to call it, but it's written in a very interesting style, and it's from her perspective and gives her the voice that she has been lacking in history for so long. This is a bilingual edition. The front half contains the piece in English and the back half contains it in Spanish. So I'm going to be starting from the back half and really trying only to consult the front half when I encounter a sentence that is completely incomprehensible. hopefully that won't happen too much. So I'm excited to start my Spanish reading journey and gradually work up to full-length novels. Next, as June is also Pride Month, I've picked out a couple of my books that contain LGBTQ themes, the first of which I'm not entirely sure has LGBTQ themes, but it is The Paper and Heart Society Bookishly Ever After by Lucy Powery, which is the last book in this trilogy, about a group of friends in late high school, maybe starting university, certainly their late teens, early 20s, who have formed this bookish society. And they are wonderful, sweet, and cozy reads. Lucy herself is a classics booktuber, and I would highly recommend that you check her out. I don't know if this particular book contains LGBTQ themes, as it follows a different character. The second book, which Ed is cleverly holding here on the cover, did, because it focused on a different member of the society. And surely that member of the society will still be present in this novel. So I guess in that way you could say it definitely has LGBTQ themes, if not more explicitly following our main character this time, Ed. This series definitely deals with coming-of-age themes and indeed mental health themes in each novel, which are so important and very well handled, I think. The next book I hope to read is Frog Music by Emma Donoghue. I have 4 or 5 books by Emma Donoghue on my TBR, and I have read none of her work yet. So I am very intrigued to start it. Her historical fiction sounds wonderful. I have not read Room, which is probably her most famous work, and I probably won't ever, not because I don't think it's good, but because I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for it. But this sounds right up my street. This is about a dancer in San Francisco, yes, in 1876, in the middle of a smallpox epidemic. And it's the story of 3 former Parisian circus stars who are living together in San Francisco now, and how slowly but surely things begin to come to light that make their relationships start to unravel until one of them is then killed. And it's about everything that happens from there. Watching the unraveling and then watching what happens after that one member dies. And I know Marissa and Katie from Blatantly Bookish and Books and Things, respectively, read this last spring and loved it, so I am very intrigued to read it for myself. The next book that I want to read is The Animals at Lockwood Manor by Jane Healy. This I have been hearing wonderful things about for over a year now, and I'm very excited to have my own copy finally. And someone on the back has described it as being a wonderful combination of Sarah Waters and Sarah Perry's works, both of whom I love. So this sounds fantastic. It's about a young woman, Hetty, who is sent to accompany a natural history museum's collection of taxidermied animals to a manor house in the English countryside so that they are saved from the Blitz and the bombings of World War II. But while she is there, not only does she discover the beautiful and haunting daughter of the house, Lucy, but the both of them begin to feel that there is something gothic lurking throughout the house, and strange things begin to happen. It sounds utterly perfect. I definitely get the Sarah Perry and the Sarah Waters vibes, so I hope I love it as much as I think I will. The next book I hope to read is Islands of Mercy by Rose Tremaine, which just sounds wonderful. It's the story of 2 people, one of whom is a young woman, a nurse in Bath in 1865, who is torn between her love for her female lover and the opportunity for a respectable marriage to a doctor. And also the story of Sir Ralph Savage, who is undergoing something of an existential crisis while he is representing the British government on the island of Borneo. And somehow their two stories begin to intersect. Quite honestly, you had me with the first story about the young nurse in Bath, as Bath is my second home ever since I studied there. So I can't wait to see how those two stories connect. And again, I hope I enjoy it as much as I think I will. And finally, the last book that I would like to work in the month of June, definitely, is An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. I read Silver Sparrow by Tayari Jones back in January and I loved it. And I know this one has gone on to win many awards, so I hope to love it just as much. I can't imagine why I wouldn't. It's the story of Roy and Celeste, who are a young newlywed couple, and they are a black couple as well. Ordinarily, that shouldn't matter, but it comes into play when at a motel one night where they are staying, they have an argument and Roy goes out to get some ice. While he's out there, he sees a white woman struggling with something, so he offers to help her, which he does, and that woman later goes on to accuse him of rape, for which he is sent to prison for many, many years. And it's the story of how their marriage does and does not survive the repercussions of that false accusation. And it is apparently beautiful and heartbreaking, so I'm really looking forward to reading this. So there you have it. Those are some of the books that I hope to read in June. Like I said, some of these may change. I may add things to the pile. So stay tuned for my wrap up at the end of the month to see what I actually read and what I thought of it. Have you read any of these, and would you recommend that they definitely stay on this list? Can you think of any others that I might enjoy that you think I should add? Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, be safe, be well, and happy reading. Bye everyone.